It started with one simple decision, a choice that would quietly unravel the noise and show me a version of life I had forgotten existed. No fanfare, no dramatic announcement. I just logged off. For 30 days, I quit social media, but behind the screen, many of us feel more anxious, more distracted, and oddly disconnected from ourselves. I was no exception, until I stepped away. And what happened next genuinely changed the way I look at time, attention, connection, and self. It's about seeing what happens when you press pause and give your mind a chance to recalibrate. So let me take you through the real experience, the unexpected revelations of what 30 days without social media taught me about life. We live in a world where scrolling is a reflex. Notifications buzz like tiny rewards. Likes and shares serve as digital validation. I read more books in 30 days than I had in the previous 6 months. I had deeper conversations, I got more sleep. I even began to enjoy doing absolutely nothing, something I hadn't done in years without feeling the urge to fill the space. This is not about blaming social media, it's about awareness. But when you step away, your attention begins to stretch. I found myself getting into deep work sessions, the kind where you forget to check the time because you fully immersed. Day one felt strange. My fingers kept moving toward those familiar icons out of habit. I'd unlock my phone only to stare at the empty space where the apps once lived. It wasn't just the hours spent scrolling, it was the time I wasted recovering from the distraction. Every time I checked social media, it took my focus away from what I was doing. That refocused time added up. It made me realize how much I was using social media not for communication but to escape boredom. I wasn't engaging, I was numbing. My brain was so used to getting a quick fix of dopamine that it didn't know what to do with the silence. The first few days felt like withdrawal. I caught myself reaching for my phone in every quiet moment, waiting in line, walking to my car, during commercial breaks. But as the days passed, something interesting started happening. My brain slowed down. The mental clutter began to lift. Without the endless stream of updates, opinions, and filtered realities, I began to hear myself think again. One of the most eye-opening realizations was how much time I got back. Without that constant pull, I started finishing tasks faster. Social media trains our brains for short attention spans, quick hits, constant novelty. I also noticed that my ability to listen improved. Without the need to constantly check my phone, I was more present in conversations. Not because I missed the apps, but because I was finally feeling emotions I had been distracting myself from. I learned that emotions are temporary, that you don't have to run from discomfort. You can breathe through it, process it, and come out stronger. That lesson alone was worth the entire challenge. Anxiety, restlessness, even loneliness. Social media had been a buffer, always there to keep uncomfortable feelings at bay. But in reality, the connections that mattered didn't disappear. In fact, they deepened. Without it, I had to sit with those feelings. I wasn't thinking about what to post next or how many likes my last photo got. I was just there, fully engaged. That's where your truest ideas live. Not in a feed, but in silence. In fact, I was hesitant. I knew I didn't want to go back to the same habits. So I made some rules. It comes from who you are when no one's watching. I unfollowed accounts that didn't align with my values. I started using social media as a tool, not a crutch. From the kindness you give, from the work you do, from the peace you feel when you know you're living in alignment. It gave me perspective. It showed me how much of my life was being lived through a screen instead of through presence. That real life doesn't need filters to be meaningful. Digital detox days, offline weekends, because now I know what's waiting on the other side of disconnection. Clarity, peace, and power. Likes, comments, views, they had become a subtle scoreboard for validation. Without them, I was forced to look inward. Around week 2, I hit an emotional low. But here's the powerful part. As I faced them, they began to lose their grip. To observe your relationship with social media, to ask if it's serving you or stealing from you. Just a quiet invitation to rediscover what it feels like to truly be present in your own life. Ideas that had been buried under the noise started to surface. I picked up old hobbies, I wrote, I reflected. I started enjoying my own company. Instead of replying to a story, I wrote a message. I met people for coffee. I had real conversations that went beyond emojis and comment threads. Social media had given me a false sense of connection. Real life gave me the real thing. One fear I had going into this experiment was missing out. Missing updates from friends, missing events, missing news. Instead of liking a post, I called a friend. Perhaps the most freeing part of this journey was realizing how much I had been tying my self-worth to digital approval. And what I found was this: your value doesn't come from metrics. Boredom came knocking often during those 30 days. But instead of running from it, I leaned in. I found creativity in the quiet. We've been taught to fear boredom, but it's in those moments of stillness that imagination is born. At the end of 30 days, I didn't rush back. I turned off all non-essential notifications. I limited my screen time with app timers. And perhaps most importantly, I committed to regular breaks. Quitting social media for 30 days didn't just give me more time. It taught me that boundaries are powerful, that stillness is necessary, You don't need to quit forever, but maybe it's time to take a step back. 30 days changed everything for me. Maybe it could do the same for you. No pressure, no judgment, because sometimes the best way to reconnect is to disconnect.